Biscuits and gravy. Oh, let's make this today. When Americans are referring to biscuits and gravy, they are not referring to dunking their digestives into bisto. This would be very silly and extremely nasty, and is not recommended by Her Majesty's Council on Food Combinations. So I got a leftover biscuit from yesterday, and nothing brings a stale biscuit back to life than a good sausage gravy. Let's get to it. We're going to start with a pound of pork sausage. You can use whatever flavor you like. I love this sage sausage. It's nice and earthy. Now, I know there was a lot of confusion in my biscuit video, especially across the pond, where you saw something you thought was a scone. But here to explain the difference between an American biscuit and a British scone is a real, actual British person. British scones tend to contain more sugar and fat and are served with jam and clotted cream. American biscuits are typically served along savory dishes such as chicken, soup, or gravy. British scones will use milk instead of cream or buttermilk. Scones are more dense and rich compared to the light and flaky consistency of American biscuits. British scones are made with sugar and dried fruit in the ingredients, although scone purists would argue against including fruit as it breaks tradition. Biscuits originate from the American South, whereas scones originate from Scotland, gaining popularity in England in the 18th and 19th centuries. American biscuits and gravy came about right around the time of the American Revolutionary War. Soldiers had a lack of any kind of beef or beef products, but they had plenty of pork in supply, and so they made a very poor man's white sauce and pork gravy and poured it over hardtack biscuits to bring them back to life. Right about now, I want to add the shallots. Why do they call it a shallot when it's so shallittle? One diced shallot. Now, of course, you can use onions or just leave this step out completely, depending on what you prefer. I really like the way the shallots mix with the sage sausage. And all the fat is still in there. We need more fat. I'm going to add about 3 more tablespoons of butter. Now that the butter's melted, I've got about 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. I'm going to sprinkle half of that on there and stir it in. So basically what we're creating is a roux, and then the other half of the flour. Now, a lot of people, their next step would be to add the milk. But hang on. We're going to toast our roux for just a little bit. My pan is set to medium heat, and I'm just going to let this butter and flour combination toast up a little bit. It'll bring about another layer of flavor and a different layer of complexity to the gravy. It's really good. The next step is we're going to slowly add about 3 or 4 cups of whole milk, depending on the consistency you like. Start really slowly. And let that slowly come to a simmer. We're going to salt and pepper to taste. Be generous with the pepper. We've warmed up our biscuits in the toaster oven, and now the only thing left to do is... I guarantee you, once you've tasted this, you will understand why some Americans are crazy about